wasn't a big stretch for me because I was so familiar with the genre. Issue is only mentioned in the very beginning, and the fact that he's wearing that badge all the time.
Sam Elliott doesn't waste words. That gravelly voice has told stories about cowboys, soldiers, and hard men living by codes most people forgot. He spent 50 years playing characters who value authenticity over flash.
Do not drink water from the ground. When we camp, we will choose a latrine away from the water source.
Substance over style. So when Elliot hates a film, it's not about artistic differences or personal taste. It's about watching cinema abandon the values he spent his career defending.
That's a real misconception.
Is the Western dead as a genre?
No, I don't think it is. I just think it's
Honesty, craftsmanship, and respect for the audience. Understanding Elliot's hatred means understanding what he represents. He's the last of a dying breed. An actor who chose Westerns when they weren't profitable, who played supporting roles with more dignity than most leads, who values telling the truth over chasing trends. Elliot built his reputation on work that feels earned, never manufactured. Characters who exist in the real world, not Hollywood's fantasy version of it. These 10 films violate everything Elliot believes cinema should be. They prioritize spectacle over story. They fake emotion they haven't earned. They insult the audience's intelligence with lazy writing and cheaper shortcuts. Some made fortunes. Some won awards. But to Sam Elliott, they represent modern Hollywood at its most cynical and dishonest. This list matters because it shows what real craftsmanship requires: patience, respect, and refusing to take easy paths. Let's examine the 10 films Sam Elliott truly despises. 10. Fast and Furious franchise. The Fast and Furious films print money. Cars fly between skyscrapers. Characters survive impossible crashes. Physics doesn't exist. And Sam Elliott sees these as the death of action filmmaking that actually means something. It's spectacle without stakes, danger without consequences, and audiences eating it up because the explosions are loud enough.
I'm not going to defend that. I'm not saying, nobody's ever going to confuse me with a chameleon.
Elliot came up in westerns and war films where action had weight. When someone got shot in a Sam Peckinpah movie, it mattered. The violence was brutal and real. Fast and Furious treats destruction like a video game. Cars worth millions get totaled for laughs. People should die but walk away without scratches. Nothing has consequences because consequences would slow down the next set piece. What bothers Elliot most is the laziness. These films don't need to make sense because the target audience doesn't care. Just give them louder explosions and more impossible stunts. Nobody asks why or how. Elliot built his career on films that respected physics, mortality, and basic human limitations. Fast and Furious abandons all of that for cartoon action with real actors. 9. Cats, 2019. Cats shouldn't exist. Tom Hooper directed it with bizarre choices that make everyone uncomfortable. The CGI is disturbing. The scale is wrong. Nothing about it works on any level. And Sam Elliott sees it as proof that Hollywood has completely lost touch with what audiences actually want. That throwing money at terrible ideas doesn't make them less terrible.
Thoughts at my grandest creation.
Elliott values common sense in filmmaking. If something doesn't work on the page, it won't work on screen. Cats didn't work as a concept. Photorealistic cats with human faces were never going to be anything except nightmare fuel. But Universal spent $100 million finding that out because nobody had the courage to kill the project early.
And I don't think it'll ever get any better than it was on this film.
What this film represents to Elliott is everything wrong with modern studio filmmaking. Nobody questions bad ideas if they come from successful people. Nobody stops productions that clearly won't work. They just keep spending money and hope for the best. The result is expensive disasters that prove money can't replace basic judgment. 8. Jupiter Ascending 2015. Jupiter Ascending cost nearly $200 million. The Wachowskis created elaborate worlds and complex mythology, and Sam Elliott couldn't follow the plot for more than 10 minutes. It's science fiction so convoluted that nobody involved seems to understand what's happening. That's not ambition. That's self-indulgence mistaken for vision.
What's going on? What was that?
Elliot appreciates films that respect the audience enough to be clear. You can make complicated stories work if you care about making them understandable. Jupiter Ascending doesn't bother. Characters explain things constantly, but nothing makes sense.
I mean, they weren't assholes. They were nice men, but they were hardcore.
The world building is so dense that you can't follow the actual story. By the end, you've watched 2 hours of expensive visuals without understanding or caring what happened. What frustrates Elliot is the waste. All that money and talent produces something incomprehensible. The Wachowskis made The Matrix, which was complex but clear. Jupiter Ascending is complex for complexity's sake. It's filmmakers disappearing into their own mythology without considering whether audiences can follow them there. 7. 50 Shades of Grey, 2015. 50 Shades of Grey made billions selling women a fantasy of being controlled by a wealthy man. Sam Elliott sees it as one of the most toxic films in modern cinema.
That's not funny. Hey.
Not because of the sex, but because it romanticizes every warning sign of an abusive relationship, and millions of people consumed it as aspirational romance. Elliot has played complicated men in relationships, characters with flaws and darkness, but those films never pretended toxicity was love.
I see the script. I mean, it's a great script, and you've got great people, but I don't know how I fit in here.
50 Shades does exactly that. Christian Grey stalks, controls, and isolates Anastasia. The film frames all of it as intensity and passion. That's dangerous storytelling that teaches terrible lessons. What makes Elliot hate this film is the cultural impact, that it became a phenomenon, that women brought their daughters to see it. Hollywood looked at its success and learned that you can sell abuse as romance if the man is rich and handsome enough. Elliot values honesty in storytelling. 50 Shades is dishonest at its core. 6. The Emoji Movie, 2017. The Emoji Movie exists for one reason: to sell phone applications to children. It's 90 minutes of product placement disguised as family entertainment. And Sam Elliott sees it as the final proof that Hollywood will make anything if it might generate revenue.
Delicious.
Excuse me?
Sweet.
Oh, hi, Nikki. See you later, Alex.
That artistic merit no longer factors into green lighting decisions. Elliot grew up when family films still had standards. Even kids' movies tried to tell actual stories with real characters. The Emoji Movie doesn't bother me. It's just recognizable icons moving through an advertisement for apps and phone features. Children deserve better than corporate marketing dressed up as entertainment.
Brilliant performances, and the voiceover was equally brilliant, I thought.
What this film represents to Elliot is Hollywood's complete loss of shame. Sony looked at emojis and thought, let's make a movie without considering whether that idea had any artistic merit. The result is exactly what you'd expect: empty, cynical, and forgotten the moment it ends. 5. Holmes and Watson, 2018. Holmes and Watson paired Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly in a comedy about Sherlock Holmes. It's aggressively unfunny. Jokes that don't land. Physical comedy that feels desperate. And Sam Elliott sees it as proof that star power can't compensate for lazy writing, that audiences have limits even for actors they usually love. Elliott appreciates good comedy. He's done comedic roles when the material earned it. But Holmes and Watson don't even try. It assumes Ferrell and Reilly being silly is enough, that recognizable characters in dumb situations automatically generate laughs. The film is lazy at every level: writing, directing, and performing. What makes Elliot hate this isn't that it's bad. It's that everyone involved clearly didn't care. They assumed their names would sell tickets regardless of quality. That's disrespectful to audiences who paid money expecting actual effort. Elliot never phoned in a performance in his life. Watching others do it offends him deeply. 4. Transformers: The Last Night, 2017, Transformers. The Last Knight is Michael Bay's fifth Transformers film. It involves King Arthur, alien robots, and a plot nobody can follow. Sam Elliott watched 40 minutes before giving up, not because it was bad, but because it was incomprehensible.
One day we wake up, they're in charge.
You see anybody in charge?
Bay creates a spectacle so chaotic that human eyes can't process what's happening. Elliott values clarity in filmmaking. Even in action sequences, the audience should understand geography and stakes. Bay's Transformers films abandon both. Robots fight in ways that make it impossible to tell who's who or what's happening. The camera moves too fast. The editing is too quick. It's a visual assault disguised as entertainment. What this film represents to Elliott is everything wrong with modern blockbusters. Louder equals better. Faster equals more exciting. Nobody stops to consider whether audiences can actually follow what they're seeing. The result is an exhausting, empty spectacle that leaves you feeling nothing. 3. Movie 43, 2013. Movie 43 assembled A-list talent for crude comedy sketches. It's aggressively unfunny and deeply uncomfortable.
Billy, now we heard that you guys were coming in tonight, so he's put together a special 4-course meal for you.
Sam Elliott sees it as the saddest thing Hollywood produced in the 2000s, watching talented actors debase themselves for material that isn't remotely funny or clever. It's dignity being sold for nothing. Elliott has turned down countless roles because they didn't meet his standards. He's never chased paychecks at the expense of self-respect. Movie 43 represents the opposite philosophy. Actors saying yes to anything regardless of quality. The result is something that helps nobody's career and entertains nobody. 2. Jack and Jill, 2011. Jack and Jill is Adam Sandler playing both a man and his twin sister. It's lazy, unfunny, and exists only to give Sandler a vacation disguised as production.
What does this mean again?
Jack, don't.
It means I can't stand you being here!
Sam Elliott sees it as the ultimate insult to audiences, a film that doesn't even pretend to try, that assumes people will watch anything with Sandler's name on it. Elliott respects actors who take their work seriously. Sandler clearly stopped caring years before Jack and Jill. The film is 90 minutes of cruise ship entertainment with celebrity cameos and product placement. It's not a cinema, it's barely content. Yet it made money because Sandler's brand was strong enough to survive complete artistic bankruptcy. What makes Elliott hate Jack and Jill is what it represents. That audiences will accept anything if it's marketed properly. That effort and quality don't matter if the star is big enough. Elliott spent 50 years earning respect through quality work. Sandler throws it away for easy paychecks and audiences reward him anyway. 1. God's Not Dead, 2014. This is the film Sam Elliott hates most. God's Not Dead is Christian propaganda masquerading as a movie. It presents atheists as angry, broken people who hate believers. Every non-Christian character is either a villain or converts by the end. And Elliott, a private person about faith, sees this as the worst kind of manipulation, using cinema to preach to people who already agree with you.
And demands to be worshipped.
The story is simple. A Christian student debates an atheist professor who secretly hates God because of personal tragedy. The student wins through logic and scripture. The professor gets hit by a car and converts before dying. Every atheist in the film is miserable until they find Jesus. It's not storytelling. It's a recruitment film disguised as entertainment. What makes this film unforgivable to Elliott is the dishonesty. It claims to be about religious freedom while demonizing everyone who doesn't share specific beliefs. Real faith requires doubt and struggle. This film offers neither. Just easy answers and cartoon villains who represent everything the target audience wants to believe about non-believers. Elliott believes cinema should explore truth, not manufacture comfortable lies. God's Not Dead does exactly the opposite. It tells audiences what they want to hear in the most simplistic way possible. That's not art. That's manipulation for profit disguised as religious expression. These 10 films abandon craftsmanship for shortcuts, honesty for manipulation, and respect for cynicism. Elliot's hatred defends what cinema should be. What modern film insulted you most? Comment below and subscribe for more.